Hello and welcome to another episode of Women in the Bar series on Verdictum, where women lawyers shed light on their journeys. I am Ananya Singh, and today we have with us Advocate Charu Mathur. She's an advocate on record in the Supreme Court of India and has a rich and diverse expertise in corporate, commercial, civil, criminal, and constitutional law. Ma'am has represented parties like cricketing bodies, educational institutions, and has been a counsel for PSUs as well as leading private entities. Not only is she a litigator, but has made a great contribution in the field of academics. She has designed course curriculums for various educational institutions and has developed key content on GST and insolvency and bankruptcy code. Not only this, she is a published author with a reputed publication on the subject of company law. And yet, there is so much more to her, which for me is impossible to express in a few words. So, today we have her with us to share her journey in her own words. Welcome to Verdictum, Charu ma'am. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much, Ananya. It's a great honor to be here.
Ma'am, please tell us about yourself and how did your journey begin? Is it because you've always stood up for social issues that you chose law? And what motivated you to this field of work?
So, Ananya, I come from Rajasthan, Jodhpur precisely, though my father was originally from Udaipur. But as you know, in Rajasthan, the principal bench is in Jodhpur. So, he shifted to Jodhpur sometime in early 70s. So, my initial inclination towards law was looking at my father working so hard, reading the files till 2 a.m. in the night. In Rajasthan, in summers, we have court at 7:30 in the morning. Going to court, then clients coming. So it was something that I always aspired to do. But then as I grew up, I realized that law is a profession which is not like what I was seeing that my father is doing. It is something great, but I realized this is an instrument of social change. So when I was a kid, there was an incident of sati in Rajasthan, and I was deeply moved by it because I could not fathom anybody in this age to do such an atrocity to a woman.
What
And then
timeline are we talking about, ma'am? I'm sorry. What timeline are we talking about here?
this is sometimes in early 80s.
Early 80s, and Sati was still going on.
Yeah, this was one particular case that had happened near Junjunu. Uh, but that has, it has disturbed me so badly that I realized that there has to be something to be done to empower the women. Right. So I started thinking in the terms of pros and cons. Okay, her husband has gone. Maybe she might have been ill-treated by her parents, her in-laws, and everybody. So perhaps it was best for her to pass away. But then I thought that why would a society think like that? This was a narrative that was given by the society. Then I realized that a woman is powerful enough to decide what path she wants to take, right? So then I realized that law is one profession where, apart from all the things that we want to do, say financially for us, but it is a great instrument for change in the society that we want to bring about. So that was one particular incident that actually troubled me a lot during my childhood. Thereafter, then I realized in my family, my both uncles, they are also lawyers. So in my family, there is a lot of inclusivity of all side types of ideas. We have got left-leaning people, we have got extreme right people, we have got centrist, and we have people who don't believe in any ideology that work is worship type. So that was another thing that opened me that people can have multiple opinions, right? And even if people have multiple opinion, then also you can be a family. So that idea of inclusivity, where on a same point I can see a person supporting death penalty, a person opposing death penalty, and these were debates which were going in our house. At that time we were living in a joint family. So this again said that this can actually be an instrument of lot of change. And then I grew up little more sometime in, I think I was in seventh or eighth at that point of a time, or maybe 10th or 11th. At that time, Justice J.S. Verma was the Chief Justice of India. And the way he has inspired me, very few people have actually done, because he was in my knowledge, he was the first activist judge, right? And he was not going for activism just for the sake of it. So, and at that time we had only Doordarshan as the television channel which was coming. So I remember 8:40 pe news aati thi, and I was always glued to the TV to know what is going in the Supreme Court or what Justice J.S. Verma in particular was doing. So if you talk about the role models, yeah, he was one of them.
Great.
So that is part of my journey. Then I just tell you about, I did my law from Elisha Law College, Ahmedabad. I joined office of Sri S.N. Sharat, who is my senior. And he was later Advocate General of Gujarat also. And he is an inspirational figure. So essentially, whatever I do or whatever I don't do, I just keep reputation of two people in my mind, my father and my senior, that I should not bring any sort of disrepute to these two men who have built their reputation on a series of hard work and self-made people.
That's
So that's about my journey.
Ma'am, when you started your legal career, what challenges did you experience in the early stages of your career? Tell us about your struggle, not only inside the court, but also inside your own home and the society in general. Was your family supportive of you choosing litigation per se?
Right. So, Ananya, when I started going to Gujarat High Court, right? And Gujarat High Court was very open there to the idea that women can litigate, right? And so that was a very welcoming feeling. The one of the big case that I saw in my senior's office was something called Rupangi Impacts, which was a youth SEBI matter. Mr. Chidambaram used to come for those matter in the High Court. Now, then my father got transferred back to Rajasthan High Court. And then when I came back to Rajasthan, I realized that it is not so welcoming. I'm talking about late 1990s, right? It is not that welcoming towards the women, right? Still, that typical mindset was there, and it was particularly related to the litigation. Litigation at that point of a time was still a very, very male-dominated profession. If you are a girl, judicial services के लिए try कर दो, go for teaching, that is the best suited, because you will get married, you will have a family, you will have kids. Then if you want to practice, then you will be out of practice, because you cannot, it is a jealous mistress, you cannot manage both with the equal thing if you want to do. So, so I was in Rajasthan High Court for a very few months, but there I gave sufficient number of appearances in those 5-6 months also. I was with my uncle at that point of time. Then I got, so within in my family, if you ask, so they were very happy that I am joining law, but do litigation per se in Rajasthan, they were not very happy about it. So they didn't discourage me as such, but they didn't encourage me also. This is I'm talking about now. Of course, the situation has changed. Even Rajasthan has opened up a lot. There are so many women lawyers that you will find in Rajasthan, in Jodhpur, and even in the district courts, even in the various tribunals. Then I got engaged and I moved to Delhi. So Delhi also there was. My husband is also a lawyer, so there was this some sort of a challenge. So in those point of a time, joining law firms was not considered the litigation thing. So it was typically for transactional work, and they said that coming from a lawyer's family, we don't do this kind of a work. Neither joining a chamber of senior in Delhi was feasible for me because there were certain challenges coming. See, if you are a new lawyer, right, you know that 12 bajna, 2 bajna raat ka is a normal thing, right? And it is not everybody who can understand that thing until and unless you have seen that atmosphere. So I started working with my husband only, and so I used to do drafting with him. Then I got conceived my child. I had a miscarriage. Then I conceived again, and that was a very bad phase of my time of my life because I had that guilt, right? And then I was on bed for a year or so. But raising my son became my priority. So whatever work I could do was from home mainly. And because I like to read a lot, so I used to read him a lot. So one good thing had that come out of this is I have made him a lifelong reader. So that is one positive aspect that I can share with you. But yeah, I do have a very supportive husband who supported me in everything, whether it was my writing my OR exams, whether it was taking care of child or anything. And then I had a supportive family also. But at that point of a time, I would just like to thank there are certain people who always stood for me. Like if I wanted to do something, right? So my sister-in-law, my cousin sisters, they were all there for me. So if you think, and why I'm telling you all this, that you need a very strong support system, right, to grow. And this profession has got enough space for people to grow. Then I will add one more example here. There is a senior advocate. She started looking for me, and then we started working together. So this is a profession. If you go and ask people for help, they will help you, right? So my message to the youngster will be: don't be shy to ask for help from the senior. And once you get into the course, when they see you coming regularly, or even if you like now there are after this pandemic, there are so many online events that people know you more rather than knowing the face. Now they can put name and face together, right? So there are people who will going to help you. And if there is somebody who ever wants to reach out, please do reach out.
Ma'am, as you mentioned that women have always been considered fit for academics or government jobs, I would like to ask you why is that, and why are there still fewer women in litigation? And why is it still considered that they should opt for, say, judicial services or for government jobs?
See, this is the mindset. See, the women, they have work actually under immense pressure. I mean, whatever we say about women empowerment, whatever we say, ultimately women are the prime caregiver of their families, right? They have to balance both the things out. Even if we raise our sons who help their partners, still there is some sense of responsibility that is there. Like if my husband assists me, then certainly his mother has raised him right. Right. So this is the something that I would like to inculcate in the coming generation. Now, this is a mindset that you have a safe job. You go 9 to 5, you come, because in litigation, nobody understand how much time is there. Your day can end at 12, your day can go up to 12 in the night, right? So there is a element of uncertainty. Uh, and just to share with you, a very senior Supreme Court just told my father कि इसको judicial exam दिलवा दो दिल्ली में, and then she can join the ranks very quickly. But then at that point of a time, I was very clear that for me there is nothing but litigation. But yeah, litigation is very, very challenging. It is a lot of hard work, and until and unless you have a very, very strong support system, it is difficult. But then if you go to the Supreme Court, you will find that there are lawyers who have actually packed their kids in their cars in morning, drop them to school, pick them, kids ate in the car, mother worked in the court, then in the evening, all of them, they go home together. So it is essentially your will and grit, right? And this is a mindset that we need to fight.
Ma'am, this was about the families and how they think about the legal system. But within the legal system, do you think that there is a legal bias that exists, especially in the light of changes that you have seen since you have started your career?
Yeah, there are certainly biases. Even today, we fight the biases. Like if a person will come to engage me as a lawyer, as an AOR, or even as a counsel, probably I have to negotiate my fees. Like up till 4 or 5 years back, I could not ask upfront for my fees. आप जो दे देंगे वो ठीक है. That is still my standard reply. But yeah, we do feel bias, and not only at my level. Even if you look in the Supreme Court, this is the last court of resort for the litigants. So we always give them an option if you want to take any designated senior. So I always try to push for senior, but the client, they always prefer a male senior. So that is the bias that is being served. Then there is this big brother attitude, right? मैं कर रहा हूँ, मैं संभाल रहा हूँ, मैं बता रहा हूँ. Why do you think I am less competent than you? So this attitude is not like one of the judges, Supreme Court judges, even in her civil speech, she shared that. When the brother just said, I'll explain you don't interfere, don't do this. So this attitude is there. And I remember one very bad incident where a certain judge had been recently elevated to the Supreme Court. And as you know, the recently elevated Supreme Court judges, they sit with the Chief Justice, and then one, two, three. So there was this particular senior advocate who was arguing, and this lady who had just joined the bench, she was asking something, and he was answering only to the male lawyer. But life is a circle. Ultimately, it would come that she was the one who decided that particular person's fate. So this attitude is there, but women have to learn to be assertive. I don't say that you have to be bad mouthing or you have to be rude, but you have to learn to be assertive. So that is one thing, one lesson which I have learned. If you are assertive, right, and if you have something concrete to say, bench will hear. They will hear you out, because ultimately they also see a person arguing, and a bias is there. Whatever we do, bias is there.
As you said that uh, male lawyers are preferred over women lawyers. It's been observed often that people prefer male lawyers to women because of the mindset that they have been having, especially in the lower courts. Why do you think that this mentality is still prevalent?
See, we as a women, we need to give the results, right? And once we start giving the result, these clients became our repeat clients, right? Then they get people from their village, from their community, from their business circles. So initially, we do have a pressure of performance. That is one aspect. Second thing is that they can take a lot of liberty with male lawyers, right? Male lawyers can go and take a client, chalo chai pee ke aa jate hain. भाई साहब सिगरेट भी क्या जाता है, like this is something that women cannot do. These are the intrinsic challenges that we face because of our gender. That is one aspect. So this is one thing, but performance pressure is immense. Once you perform well, you will be noticed, and then there is no limit to work. And that way I feel that we at Supreme Court are very blessed that we do get opportunity. If you seek opportunity, you get it, but you have to seek it.
This mentality that we are talking about, that not only men but even women have this mentality that they will prefer male lawyers, they will think that they are male competent. How do you think that this can be changed?
See, one thing is that women, they should be more seen, right, in the public spaces. That is the one aspect. And then instead of pulling down each other, if you pull up each other, if you support it, there is a lot of work in this litigation space. It is not that if I give some work to another person, there will be scarcity of work. So women have to lean in. If you have read the book, you have to lean in for the support on the other person, and they will pull up. So this mentality has to change. Again, as you rightly said, that women do pull down women. So that is a problem. And some of the time, women need to have that confidence that I am as competent or even more competent than the male lawyers. You should know when to shut up a person. It is very important. Like when we argue, many times they said, I am explaining. So you sometimes have to tell them, did I disturb you? You just should sit down and let me explain. You don't try to explain my point on my behalf. So I'll just give you a recent example. There was this medical entrance exam we were doing. So there was another lawyer who had come, and he had just filed an IA. We were the main petitioners. So this fellow got trapped and he starts arguing the matter. My matter, he starts arguing. Then I had to be ruthless and I had to tell him, just please shut up, please sit down. You are intervener, your IA is not allowed. Don't argue on my behalf. I know what to argue. Rightly or wrongly, client has entrusted his brief to me. Right? So it is my duty what I make out of my case. Only because of your gender, you don't go and say, I will tell you, oh. So you know you have to be very, very emphatic. You have to tell them that this is the line that you need to draw. And it is very important to draw this line.
Ma'am, as you also mentioned that there's no doubt about the fact that networking is key for the work of a litigator. Do you think that women face more challenges compared to men when it comes to building a client base?
I do. So that networking issue is there. Yes, I told you that men can go out at 11, have a drink, and come home at 2 o'clock, no questions asked, right? But on a Sunday, even if you have to go out in an afternoon to meet few people, then "Arey, aaj kaam nahi hai, kyun ja rahe ho?" That will be a question asked, right? So people don't understand that you don't meet people only when you have work. You have to meet people to be in the public memory. People have to remember that you exist, right? You are as good as your last order. This is a ruthless profession, and you must remember that, right? You are as good as your last order. So networking is an issue, but now there are many women forums also, right? Where the women will network, and if you look in the non-litigation space, most of the GCs are women, right? And they do encourage women lawyers where they have a level of comfort. So networking was a big issue some time back, and it is still is. I won't say it is not, but it has reduced to a great extent. And with the online facilities, with virtual meetings, with virtual webinars, and all those kind of a thing, not the things are tiding towards the women's side. And if you look at the number of women judges that are getting appointed now, that is also encouraged.
Ma'am, have any of your male colleagues in the court ever commented on your abilities as a lawyer?
See, I don't take nonsense from anybody. If somebody says something, I give him back immediately. I don't wait for the other person to get on me ki this is what you are doing. So I am nice till I am nice at only till a certain stage. If it requires, see, essentially, though we are not the mouthpieces of our client, but we are standing, we are holding a brief for the client, right? And just like the example I told you, so this was a senior, designated a senior counsel who was trying to interfere in my matter, and I told him before this was the first 5 judges that he cannot take the liberty of arguing my matter. So you have to draw this, and there are adverse comments. There are comments on where you dress. There are comments on where the type of shoe you wear, type of bag you carry, everything. But you have to develop a thick skin to know when to avoid them, right? It has to be a genderless when you go and argue before a judge. So for me, many a time I find it very inconvenient to call a women judge her ladyship or ladyship. It is always a lordship because I consider lordship as a gender neutral term.
Definitely. Ma'am,
Right. So
in the courts, when you are arguing, people are wearing uniforms. So if you could just elaborate on how people comment on the way you dress inside the courtroom.
see, bearing justice, Chief Justice of India, who says that women, it takes an effort even to come out of the house. So to enter this profession, right? So you should not be overtly strict about the how the women dresses. So I typically for summers wear white kurta, and for winters I wear my trousers and my high neck and all those things. But then there are people who will comment. There are ladies who wear their saris and all. They will comment on that. There are people, because you can wear skirt also in Delhi High Court, in Supreme Court. People will comment on that. People will comment on the palazzo if you are wearing. Why is she coming in a fashion dress, right? So those type of challenges is there, but uh, always remember that knowledge is power. If you have immense knowledge about your subject, and if you start speaking on that, then everybody should go and keep quiet. There are lawyers, and I don't know how those lawyers they walk the Supreme Court in the high heels or at least a platform heel, and there are many of us who wear black sport shoes because we know we cannot do it. So it is up to the person how they dress, as long as they are within the confines of the code of the uniform. Because see, you have to maintain the dignity of your profession also. So it is okay. So there are many people who will wear black and white salwar kurta, or they will wear beige color. And there are people like me who would like to wear either complete black or complete white. So it is perfectly fine. This is what I feel.
Ma'am, if Advocate Charu Mathur had to summarize her incredible journey in a few words, how would you do it? And what was your main lesson throughout this journey? Is there any specific case in your career that you consider a defining moment?
Uh, so Ananya, I will give you few examples. For defining moment, one was a death penalty case called Purushottam Dachat Borate, where this woman, she was working in a BPO in Pune, and this person was her driver, which was interested by the company to carry her. It was a late night shift. He raped her and he ravished her, and then he murdered her with a brick. So it was a very difficult case for me, because seeing those pictures, though you get used to seeing when you do the criminal matters, those pictures, but still they were very gruesome. So that was the first matter where the first court heard me continuously for hour and a half with all the precedents that I could remember. It was Justice Dattu who was there, and when they heard, and it was a pin drop silence, so it was a very uh, different feeling that I had. And I had actually started coming to court and arguing matter after a brief, because my kid was little younger and there were certain issues that I was not coming to court that frequently at that point of a time. So this was again a very important case where I learned that I have not lost my ability to argue well, and I can argue before the first court of the nation. So that was a big moral booster for me. This Purushottam Borate was again uh, relied upon by Justice Bhanumati in her death penalty reference that was given to Nirbhaya's accused, right? So that was the judgment that she relied upon on the mitigating and aggravating factors. Second decision that I am very particularly proud of is of a very, very old father, and her daughter has actually filed a case against him. Now, father has done needful, they entered into a settlement, and this daughter was acting too smart. And ultimately, I came out as an AOR. I'm very proud of that because I did the perfect documentation of the relied upon document, so that I could, because there was a mindset that because it was a girl, father didn't want a girl, so he doesn't want to part with his property with his daughter. So father was willing to give a property in exchange. So here I was facing a different type of a mindset of a judge, where the judges were of this opinion that a father who wanted to kill his daughter and he doesn't want to give a property, though in reality it was vice versa. Ultimately the judgment came in our favor. So biases, it runs both ways, right? So this was another important case. The third case, which is Dr. Neil Aurelius News, where we had challenged the criteria for EWS reservation. So though we are in favor of EWS reservation, we are saying that the criteria that you have laid down, that to be an EWS person, your annual income has to be less than 8 lakh rupees. Now, this according to us is absurd. Why? Because up till now, till day before yesterday, your income, your exemption limit for income tax limit was 5 lakh rupees. And if you look at 8 lakhs, कितने लोग कमाते हैं इंडिया में, you will find that 97 to 98% India earns less than 8 lakh rupees. So entire India you cannot put in the EWS category. So the judgment has come in two parts. One was regarding OBC reservation, where Justice Chandrachud has already given his opinion. And in that, he has given a very, very important aspect of merit. What constitutes merit? Your marks alone does not contribute to merit, right? People need to understand that your merit is work of hundreds of people, right? It takes a village to raise a child. Why merit? Because I come from an affluent family, so I got to read a certain kind of books that were made available, right? I could go and learn different languages. I can go for a swimming lesson. I can go for a piano lesson. But a person who has none of these privileges, person who worked in the day, maybe in some hotel as a cleaning boy read under the light in the night, then it is his merit that he has come out against the world. So this is again a very good judgment on what is a merit. And if you want me for a recommendation, then Michael Sanders' Tyranny of Merit is something which everyone should read.
Thank you so
So
much.
these are three. Yeah, and apart from how I will define my journey, so one thing that I would like to tell you is this is a journey. As a litigator, you can start at any stage. So even if you have a gap in your profession, you can just start from where you have lived, right? There will be some gap. Sometimes you will feel, यार उसका मेरा प्रोफेशन तो बराबर है, 10 साल का एक्सपीरियंस इसका 10 साल का मेरा है, but he or she is earning so well, or he or she is recognized so well, you will be able to bridge that gap. So the beauty of this profession is you can start from any time.
And ma'am, throughout your journey, what was your main lesson that you took from it until now?
My lesson from this is the most beautiful profession to be in. Practicing in Supreme Court, I find, is the most secure place to do. It is the place where you get, if you are good, the provision, the underlining rider is that you should have the knowledge of the subject you are going to deal. Knowledge is power, and if your knowledge about your subject is complete, nobody can doubt your sincerity. You will get noticed. So today, the way we see the number of women lawyers coming, the women judges coming, young women lawyers, they have the crash facility, etc. in the Supreme Court. The news portals which have come, like yours, it is run by a very well accomplished person. So there are opportunity, and law is a beautiful profession where you have got tons of opportunities, and you can very easily shift. Like if litigation doesn't suit you, you can go back to transactional work, and people from transactional work have come to the litigation work. And my one lesson to it is don't ask for support, right? Like there is always a hesitation, like for me, how can I go and speak to a senior, or how can I go and speak to someone? Don't have that hesitation. Go, this is a place where people will actually help you, right? So this is what my takeaway.
Ma'am, we talked so much about gender neutrality and how there are gender biases. What changes, in your opinion, are required to create a gender neutral environment in the courts so that more women can choose litigation as a career option?
See, one, we have to raise our sons well, right? You teach them. See, when we are empowering women, we should also make our kids understand, the sons understand, that you have to equally respect your partner, your wife, your spouse, right? So when they enter a profession, you have to create that balance. As for the court, as you must always give maximum possible opportunity to your associates to argue the matter. Go before the registrar, go to the registry. And once you come to the court, you don't take yourself that I am a woman lawyer. You are a lawyer. A lawyer is a lawyer. A lawyer is not a male lawyer, or you don't call a women lawyer. We don't call male lawyer, he is a man lawyer. So why do you put a tag on us that she is a women lawyer? Right? We are not a rarity now. People who have gone by, they have fought a lot of battle for us. We have got a good field to play. And now it is for us to work hard and show that this is what we are made up of. We have to show our own steel frame now.
Ma'am, finally, what words of wisdom would you like to share with our young professionals, as well as the do's and don'ts of a successful career in litigation?
Before I answer that, I just wanted to add one more thing to the previous question, how to make court more accessible. So with pandemic and virtual hearings, see, we lawyers are status quo people, right? And until and unless because of this pandemic that we got used to this virtual hearing, hybrid system or total virtual system, it is really good. I have seen so many women, they left the profession, particularly in litigation. Why? Because they have a family to tend. Now with this virtual thing, and the present CJI is the one who actually advocates this. So this is one aspect, that it is providing you a lot of flexibility to work. See, in the cities like Delhi, where you measure the distance in time, कोर्ट पहुंचने में कितना टाइम लगेगा, कितना ट्रैफिक मिलेगा, एंड नॉट द डिस्टेंस की 10 किलोमीटर है, राइट? सो दिस वर्चुअल हाइब्रिड सिस्टम, इट गिव्स द लॉट ऑफ फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी, एंड दिस हैज एक्चुअली गॉट लॉट ऑफ women back into the profession. I have seen 3 or 4 women who have come to me कि मैम we have rejoined the profession because अब हम virtually कर सकते हैं. So this is something which should be taken ahead. It should see during pandemic also, if you look at the outlay of the infrastructurally that the government has spent on the court infrastructure, that is humongous, right? It should not go waste. So virtual courts, it should be a norm, and this will get many more women continue in the profession, and even get some women back into the profession. So this is my answer to your previous question. And coming back to this question, as my last piece of advice is, go ahead, give your best shot, and don't feel shy to ask for help. Right? So this is what my take is.
And the do's and don'ts of a successful career in litigation?
Do's and don'ts. Do's is you have to be a voracious reader. You must read a lot. You must be abreast with the latest case law. That is first. You must be meticulous. You should learn how to do your time management. Many people say that you should not go and spend time drinking coffee or gossiping in corridor. I don't subscribe to that, because that is essential. That is how you know people. That is how you meet people. That is one thing that you must do. My don't is only one, that never ever go to a court without reading a file, even if it is for mentioning a matter, even it is for asking an adjournment. So that looks very bad. And then it says, na, then it perpetuates, अरे लड़की ये पढ़ के नहीं आई थी. No, that is the mindset we should take very clearly. If a male colleague doesn't come, it is said, कि हाँ ठीक है कोई बात नहीं. But we have to still tread that part. We should not come. We should always be prepared. And there are opportunities in Supreme Court, particularly to the younger lawyers. There are judges, they ask you, Acha, your senior is not coming, you argue. They force, but people don't take this opportunity. Grab this opportunity. And when they have to dismiss the matter, they said that it is not on your head, it is on your senior's head. Let him come, and then we will dismiss. So Supreme Court as a whole is very encouraging, right? But you have to be very well prepared and develop a thick skin, because there are people who would like to pull you down for no good reason, for nothing at all. So you must be very well prepared with whatever the matter you have in the hand.
Ma'am, with that, I'd like to thank you for sharing your journey with the viewers. And I'm sure after listening to you, many upcoming women lawyers or just women in general will be inspired and will learn a great deal from it. It was an absolute pleasure to have you with us, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Ananya, for having me. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And with that, I am Ananya Singh. Thank you for watching Verdictum. Please subscribe to our channel for more such informative content and download the Verdictum app on iOS and Android to keep yourself updated with authentic legal news.